Everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful Rabbit Hole, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. You guys know that I'm a big fan of the Nintendo GameCube classic, Resident Evil 4. The Wii version was a great upgrade with new controls and new content, and I have never in my life wanted a remake to Resident Evil 4. Like, what would you do to it? Like, hypothetically, like, yeah, there are things you could do. Like, maybe you could give like Lewis his own campaign. Maybe you could like come up with new areas. Maybe you could like do something. But I think everyone kind of agrees. Anyone who's a true fan of Resident Evil 4 knows that you can't improve perfection. And upon watching this Resident Evil 4 remake trailer, I am getting like a big major flashback to like what happened with Final Fantasy VII-R, in which it feels like a bunch of people who don't know what made the Nintendo exclusive Resident Evil 4 great are latching on to this property in order to like have something to talk about for the foreseeable future, because nothing about this Resident Evil 4 remake looks any good at all. There is nothing that looks appealing to me. I don't like the change in direction. I don't like the change in tone. I don't like the way the gameplay looks. After RE Remake 2, which also was very overhyped, I think Resident Evil 2 Remake is one of the most overrated games ever made, honestly, considering how many people declared it like the best remake of all time, when it really wasn't. Like, just get past the police station part and see what I mean. Like, the sewer in the lab was like boring as fuck, but yeah, it does feel like we're kind of going to go through the song and dance again, in which a bunch of people who don't like Resident Evil 4, or who have never even played Resident Evil 4, are going to like pretend Resident Evil 4 remake is like some big major improvement over the original, which I don't think is even really possible. Like, considering like the change in tone and stuff like that, like, it feels like people are going to like praise the game just because it takes itself more seriously, when there's just nothing about the idea of Resident Evil taking itself seriously that's really all that appealing to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why they couldn't have just taken the original game and just, put a bunch of new campaigns in it, like the same engine, like the same general gameplay, like maybe give some of the mercenary characters like their own campaigns or whatever. Like, I would love a Krauser campaign. That would be awesome. Like, there are things they could have done with the original, but like, no, I think making a remake to literal perfection is like very, very unnecessary. I do think this is very, very unwarranted, and I am very, very disheartened by the sheer amount of YouTubers and shills who are like not really acknowledging the problem. Is that there is no way that Capcom, who does not have any of the people who made the original RE4 anymore, like, there is no way that Capcom is going to be able to top RE4, the original. There is no way. Like, I think a lot of people are pretty certain of that with Silent Hill, like those games that are coming out. Like, there are lots of red flags. Like, Silent Hill fans are very particular. Silent Hill fans are at the point where like Konami could get like all of Team Silent to come back together, and like they would just be skeptical of it, because like the last game they produced was Silent Hill 4, which fans like hate. So I don't think there's anything Silent Hill fans can do to come back from that. But yeah, like Silent Hill fans, they seem to have standards. They'll actually like admit that like, the vast majority of games in our franchise are trash. Resident Evil fans have never done that, honestly. Like, even when Resident Evil 5 came out and they were like very clear signs that like the developers had no idea what they were doing. Like, with Resident Evil 6, with 7, with 8, with Village, like, I was seeing a lot of people like the Gaming Brit Show, people like Nitro Rat, like, oh man, these games, they're some of the best games of the year. No, they're not. They're really, really not. And honestly, at this stage, I don't even really intend to check out future Resident Evil games. I think the IP is essentially dead in the water, to be honest with you. Like, the direction the series has gone in is just so far departed from what made it appealing to me personally. Like, I don't see it really making a recovery ever. honestly. And like, I don't see why the vast majority of the audience doesn't seem to see it the way I do. Because like the reason I feel this way is because of a long string of failures. You know, leaving Nintendo consoles was a disaster for the brand. You know, we got Resident Evil 5, which was shit. We got 6, which was shit. We got 7, which was 6. Like Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2, both of which were terrible. A lot of people will defend Revelations 1, but that was one of the most overrated games on 3DS. I do not like how people hype that one up. 7 was disappointing. 8 was bad. Like the IP is dead, and nobody wants to admit it. We are at that point where we are in the position that Final Fantasy VII is in now, right? Where Final Fantasy is in now, where the only reason the brand is relevant is because of nostalgia, because people loved Resident Evil 2 back in the 90s. Like, oh man, this game will never come out on N64, even though it did. Like, this game, it's so good. I'll play it for like 25 years. It's a complete joke. It really, really is. I don't know why more people just aren't talking about it. Like, like I have no faith in this IP whatsoever. I think it's going to be another couple of years before more people start feeling it the same way I do. But I do think it's coming. I do think that the IP is just like a complete train wreck. I don't think there's any recovery. I don't think there's any hope. I don't think there's any chance that they're going to like come back and like make something great. Like I didn't really even need to see a trailer to tell you that. You know, Resident Evil 4 Remake, there is nothing that will make me interested in buying such a pointless waste of time. I would rather just play the original again.